Hi, my name's Matthew from Top-Hoist.com, and this is a video we're putting together to show you how to use your electric hoist. Pretty straightforward, and you do have instructions that you should have received with your kit, but this may help to go over some things maybe that if it didn't make sense to you, this might help. And you can see the top of the hardtop is a little dusty. I don't bother putting it in a bag or protecting it in any way when it's in the garage. I just put it on my car and just dust it off or rinse it off, and that's simpler than having to deal with a protective covering that can kind of get in the way when you're lowering it down to your car, and then you have to try to get that protective covering off. So it's easier to just leave it suspended as it is. And here's a view from behind the hard top. You can see not only do we have the bar going across the underside of the roof line, but we have the two hooks that come in and hook along the rear of the top to give it support back there. And actually most of the weight is supported by those hooks in the rear. Now what I've done is I've backed up my car into the garage and I've centered it underneath the hard top. You can see there it's pretty well centered. As long as you're pretty close, that's fine. And if you look at it from this angle, I'm backed up pretty nicely so that the front, the leading edge of the hard top is above the window frame here in the front. And of course the spikes will come down and go into their receptacles properly. So now we're ready to lower the hard top, and we've got the controller within reach. I can also guide the hard top with my other hand, and that makes it simple. You really don't want the controller to be on the wall or anywhere too far away from where you're working, because you do want to be able to control this hard top as it's coming down into its receptacles with your hand. So we'll go ahead and let it go. We'll do a little bit at a time here. As I get close, you can see I have the front of my top tipped down a little bit. That allows me to line up the front of the top with the window frame, and then I know the spikes will come down into the receptacles more or less in alignment as well. So first I'm going to allow it to drop down just to the point where it's laying on the window frame. And then I can, if I need to come up here and maneuver it a little bit to get it centered, this is pretty easy to do. I'll lower it a little bit more. And now that it's pretty well centered here in the front, I can pay attention to what's going on down in here with the spike in the back. I'll take a look here. I got to move this forward a little bit, it looks like. Okay, so this spike is on the way in. It still is pretty well centered here in the front. I'm going to walk around to the other side. So we're going to check out the other side, make sure the spike is in the proper spot here. And there it wasn't quite right, so now I was able to lift it up and get that one in properly. So now we have both spikes in their receptacles. The front is lined pretty well. And now I'm going to lower the cable a little bit further so I have a little bit more slack in the line, and I can unhook the bar and the hooks in the rear. So of course we go back over here, bring it down a little bit about like that is fine. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to unhook one side of the bar. Just lay that down on top of your door frame there. We'll easily lay the hook, that one hook in the rear. I'm going to come around the other side and just pull the bar right through, and then we'll lay it across the back of the window and re-hook it. So now we've got the bar free of the hard top. So now we have these hooks in the rear which can easily be slid out from behind the hard top. and raise it right back up. So now we've got the hoist back up out of the way. We've got our hard top down on the car, ready to latch it in place, and there you're set. Of course, once you get the hang of doing this, it takes a minute or so each time, and you can easily, on a whim, if nice weather comes in December and you want to take your hard top off and put your soft top down and go for a drive, you can easily do that. It makes it very simple. Of course, if you have any questions, you can contact us at Top-Hoist.com, top-hoist.com, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. And of course, the reverse, taking the hard top off, is simply the reverse of what we've done. You lower the this down so that the hooks are down below the edge of the frame, and they'll easily hook into place when we're ready to. You unhook one side, bring that rod through, hook it back up so that it's underneath the roof line. Make sure these are hooked up. Slowly start raising your top. Of course, make sure everything is unlatched when you're doing that. That could be disastrous for your hard top or for the hoist if you're trying to lift a hard top that's still latched down. So just keep that in the back of your mind. You've got to make sure it's unlatched and loose and ready to be lifted before you try to do that.